Hi, everyone. So I was making a video and I just started. Hi, hello, and welcome to the Oracle Counselorship brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess of Losi. I'll be your Oracle today. We're on Ratchet Protocols. Okay. Girl, homeboy, please forgive. If you are the couple dozen people out there that are in a closer community, meaning not just the public, but like your spiritual child or a student or a client, Mama's been resting, okay? And we've been going through it, but you know, that's that. Let's keep it on, keep it moving. So I just feel bad for being so away from you. I haven't even been responding to that many messages. It's hard for me. I don't like the phone. Let's do some quick housekeeping. Okay, so the smoothie I'm drinking today is the regular pink smoothie. I'll have the recipe, except I didn't put any cherries in it, so it looks kind of shit colored. Okay, there's still a little bit in there. It's the greens. And then the tea I'm drinking, I'm in the Pacific Northwest, so we're really big on our beers and burgers and tea here. So this is a Singer's blend that I've added some herbs to. So the Singer's blend here, it's some Portland tea company. Rooibos, slippery elm bark, cherry bark, cardamom, clove, and then some other things I won't say. But that's the tea. And you already heard about the smoothie. Going through a detox. So we didn't get that far. And instead of doing all this other and getting into the message at the end after like an hour and a half, I don't want to make hour-and-a-half videos anymore. I still make them. I just don't want them on my YouTube channel or the YouTube channel. So where we are right now is I'm just going to straight to the thought. So when I came, I was saying like, you know, I'm feeling the devil again. I don't want to run to the table when I'm feeling the devil. And spirit, the universe did say that I had work to do, and I don't remember exactly what they wanted me to talk about. And they said, just sit down, we'll speak through you. So I already have my little channel ear ringing. My receptive ear is going off, something fierce. So I'm just going to tune in here and calm down. All is well. I don't have to worry. So I was feeling the devil. The housekeeping is that check the show notes, check the channel page. There's playlists there because this is a channel about timely, not timeless stuff. So it doesn't mean that the video got taken down. It means it got unlisted. So I've done the work and I will continue to do the work because it's easy. It's not difficult. I can make that promise and keep with it because it's not difficult. I'm really into aesthetic, refined, elegant things, and progress is better than perfection. So the show must go on. Got to keep it moving. And it's been rather unrefined and inelegant. That's what I mean by ratchet. Unrefined and inelegant is Pablo Sima's definition of ratchet. So what I'm trying to say is in the show page, in the channel page, there will be something called home or playlist, and that's supposed to be very helpful. Because if a video has been unlisted, that's where it'll be. Okay, let's begin. So the devil is here in the clarifiers in the second degree. So he didn't jump out, didn't have any messages. And normally for me, when I'm sensing the devil, and this is something that you're going to need to come really close to me to figure out, not about myself, but in general. Really close to one of the priestesses, you know, the priestess. When I'm sensing the devil, if the first thing to pop out is the devil, it's actually a message because I know my spiritual quadrant very well. Tabella, spiritually small. I know my constitution very well. So for me, it's literally an attendant bringing a message. But if the devil's sneaking in a little bit down the road, that's the actual devil. And so, yeah, me, myself, I've just been sensing. And frankly, I don't want, if you go hunting demons, you eventually become a demon, or at least you go so deep into hell, it might be hard to find your way out. If you stare into the abyss long enough, the abyss stares back at you. And frankly, the abyss stares into you or through you. And that's a quote from someone. Another thing is that the only thing that can destroy the abyss is oblivion. So there's places you don't go. The beings made of the light, there's places the light beings don't go. And even if a being can go there, there's times they don't go there. Frankly, because there's a reconciliation, and straddling the fence is great. That's what humanity is about, the middle path. However, your soul will always pick a side. And I'm not talking about duality. It's not this or that. It's this and that. And it's this and that. And I'm on this side in the light. I'm on this side in the dark. There's times, especially during the human experience and human existence, where you can be here or there. But during the end times, and the end times doesn't mean the earth is destroyed. It means there's a reset. Like you might have heard about this 5D new earth thing. That means there's a reset. A clock has run out, and before it gets reset to the beginning, certain things happen. And throughout history, if we're not on a certain side when this reset happens, we're given a choice to clean our slate and serve the light, or we can keep what's on our slate, we then serve the dark. So I'm here talking about the devil. The devil means so many more things than what the average person understands. For me, the first way I introduced the devil was just to say, look at the devil spelled backwards. It's lived. So typically it means spiraling downward. You're deeper into selfishness, materialism, and pain and degradation, despair. Basically, when you go towards the devil, it's really Satan. There's many devils and there's even more demons. It's kind of like there's many stars in the sky or demons. And then you have a few constellations, devils. And then you have the sky itself, Satan. There's many fish in the sea, right? Angels. And then you have a few different seas, the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, archangels. Okay. And then you have the sea god. Example. I'm just giving you an example. Don't think that I'm saying all stars or demons or all fish in the sea or angels. I'm just giving you concepts and ideas. So when you go closer to the devil, you typically begin to separate. You typically begin to use your own will. It doesn't mean you can't have willpower, but thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That is a different story. This is a free will zone territory, but it's only so that certain experiences have specific meanings. It's so that when we do get absorbed back into the divine, there's a separateness of us. Even if we've merged into the infinite, there's still something individual about us. This is something that needs to be talked about at length. I can't do it here. I was sensing the devil and I got my confirmation. So let's do this. I don't want to come always and talk about the devil. That's not my thing. But it's clarified here. So this was saying, when I asked about why am I sensing the devil all the time, what came out was that the chosen kingdom is approaching. What's for us will not pass us by. So things are starting to come our way. And especially reunions or anything we've been hoping, wishing, and praying, our heart's desire, any type of healing that we need. See the devil? And it came out with the King of Swords. So I don't like the devil and the King of Swords or the devil and the King of Wands. Those energies, no. So we have the King of Swords and the King of Cups here. So the King of Cups is the chosen soul, a pure soul. And what I'm detecting is the devil, when you go towards the devil, that's no longer accidental. Now, there's always exceptions, darling. But there's a difference between accidental evil and intentional evil. So when the devil makes it into your life, what's happening is they encroach some way. Typically, a person, place, or thing, normally they use love. But you see love of the divine reflected back by another individual, or love of an individual. They're two separate things. So when we fall in love with a person, normally we make them our God. We worship them and devote ourselves to them in a way that pushes God out. Now, the other way for the devil to make his way in is through the five senses. When you give one of those up, then he takes over the mind, and then he can push God out. So God lives from the inside out. The devil lives from the outside in. So if you give up something of the material of the flesh, typically love of money, lust, greed, just track it down to your five senses: touch, taste, smell, sound, sight. One of those five senses. Once you give one of those over to the devil can make his way in. And then the last six, the sixth sense is not your intuition, it's your mind. So once the devil starts working on your mind and you start letting him in, God gets pushed out. So that's what I was detecting here. It's just like, we have these sacred containers, this sacred space around us, and we cultivate, curate that very well. Double Venus energy, love. We cultivate that very well. However, a snake can be in the garden, some sand could get in the wine, some particulates can get in the drink. And so it could dirty up the batch. And see, that's the thing I was detecting about materialism, materiality, is like, sometimes we have a fear to throw things away. Especially Capricorns, which is also the devil card. They don't like to have nothing. Start from scratch for Capricorn. It's not impossible, it's problematic, because their energy is suited towards gaining and holding and keeping. Their great is not even bankers, treasurers. Doesn't matter if they're collecting money, they could be collecting books in a library. It's not always about the dollar. You hear? The dollar, euro, yen, pound. It's not always about that. But when you have this obsessive compulsion about something outside of yourself, that's so we got the 9 of Pentacles, and then the devil came right out. So I don't think he's going to come and play with us. It's time to come into knowledge about what we have alive inside that can be. So it's that victim archetype. And sometimes it's a vampire archetype. Knowing what about you attracts people to victimize you, to harm you. knowing what is alive in you that can be stolen, knowing what is the value that can be spoilt or lost or misused and abused. So let's see here. You know, these two kings are clarified by the Tower and the Justice card. So whenever the Tower, and I read around major arcana, so something that annoys some people, I don't care. Major arcana, I'll always share those, almost always share those. Minor arcana, the clarification. So we have two kings already. We also have the Tower and the Justice card, and that talks about karmic justice. It also talks about the truth coming out, and it also talks about a little bit of strictness. It's not as strict as when the Justice card and the Death card come out together, but it is strict here. So we're looking to be secure in the self, looking to be at peace. And see, that's what this Justice card is talking about. It's calling itself alignment. See, in the thought, it calls itself adjustment, but I'm hearing the word alignment. So when we come into self-alignment, it's satiety, satisfaction, being secure in the soul, not caring what's going on the outside, because you know that the insides reflect peace and harmony. Yeah. Okay, so I'm catching the message here. This is a new reading style that I don't share, so it's also a little bit difficult. So this King of Cups here at the top talks about a pure, clean, and free soul, unencumbered, meaning you don't have any ties to the devil. And if you do, when you die, they're broken, that there's not something you need to deal with in another lifetime. Then it's clarified by these two cards here. It's talking about saying, like, listen, you've got to be very surgical, very skillful at finding peace. And there's things you need to do which are not particularly pleasant, but if you don't do it, you succumb to the devil. If you don't do it, you'll need to be let out of hell. This is the word, so let me translate, succumb to the devil. Devil's gonna get you somehow, some way. And how, I don't know, it's different for different folks, but we'll always need to, I'm hearing the word judge with the Justice card there and the Two of Swords. Yeah, that's judgment. So we'll always need to make a value judgment on our peace. So what is a value judgment versus a moral judgment? A moral judgment is to say, that's not right. You're wrong. You are bad. That's bad. I can give examples. But a value judgment would be, that doesn't work for me. It's not in alignment with my values. That's not something that I'm gonna explore. That doesn't call to, that doesn't resonate with me. That's not something I participate in. That's a value judgment versus a moral judgment. That's wrong. So one is like, that's wrong, that's bad. The other one is, that doesn't sound right, that doesn't work for me, that doesn't align with my values. So we're needing to make a lot of value assessments, value judgments here on what works and what doesn't work. And you see there's trickster energy everywhere, but it's very subtle. So the thing about trickster energy, and I can see why in the beginning I was talking about the mind. Trickster energy works from, like I said, the outside in. The thing that's tricking you is the mind. So there's no such thing as a trick. There's trickery, the art of using tricks, but a trick is really self-deception. That's the trickster. If you get misaligned, unaligned with your own authentic self, your own true nature, the God alive in you, that's when this trick energy works. It's trickster energy. People coming around causing conflict, chaos, and havoc. And it might not be them intentionally doing it. Sometimes they're just a vessel of the dark. There is a card in the deck, because I use this deck for something. It's a personal deck. So don't be alarmed. Normally I take jumpers and flippers and whatever, but it's the Wheel of Fortune, which is your crown. So I use that to open up the gate and talk at the gate. Literally, I'll shuffle a couple times and then cut the deck at wherever that Wheel of Fortune card is. And then to me, that's the message is waiting there. So don't be alarmed by that. Okay, so we have no clarifiers here. I mean, there is an explanation, but it's exactly what it is that I thought. So whatever I said to you was true and correct, because then the Queen of Cups came out with the King of Cups, Queen of Cups. That's like basically the nation of the chosen, the 144,000, all of that, the 12 tribes of Egypt, all of that. It's talking about that. So it's also going on a lot about just cleanliness in the soul, being secure in the soul too. So these things require being at peace, because we're human, imperfect. We make mistakes. And trying to be perfect is a different form of evil, because it gives you obsession, compulsion, and materialism. Basically, you become, or basically one becomes validation seeking, needing approval all the time. And it's not always overt, meaning straightforward. So then it could be very cunning, baffling, and deceptive how we go about to serve these needs: materialism, perfectionism, validation seeking. So when you're just standing before God, when you talk to your ancestors and to your Vodoun or your spirits, your Orisha, whatever, that's a different form of validation seeking. I'm much more concerned, me personally, Ablosi, I'm much more concerned what God has to say and my ancestors have to say than some Joe Schmo down the street, or even somebody that's been in my life for the last 15 years. Okay. That was the truth, they said. Ooh. Okay, so the devil did make it out. And that's unfortunate, but I just would rather return to a positive note. I don't want to be Pollyanna, but I also don't want to be, I'm already Captain Buzzkill. I'm too sober, I'm too strict, I'm too severe. Okay. Sorry, I keep hitting the mic. All right, so as I was saying, yeah, this pure clean soul does need strategy, tactics, or even skillfulness to combat. Now, the truth always comes out, but see, to a Pollyanna and ignorant and naive person, it'll look like a Five of Cups situation, but all the fives, I call them pivot moments or stripping. So the Five of Swords and the Five of Cups is a stripping. Being stripped of something in the spiritual is the Five of Cups. So oftentimes this is people leaving your life, and we might go trying to chase them, hold on to them. But really what we need is to take the message. Whatever it is, however it is, pardon me. So the Magician is about taking base elements. It's not transmutation, but it's having tools, having something latent become manifest. So we're being given tools, energies to manifest from. So if you get given lemons, then you have the tools to make lemonade. And it does depend on the mind. So if we're not at peace or in alignment, we're going to look at whatever's going on is happening to us. Oh, this person is leaving me. Oh, whatever. And if we are in alignment towards the future, towards the awakening, great awakening, if we're at peace, then we know what to deal with and what not. We know that, yeah, the devil's behind a lot of things, but individually, our experience, individually, our perception, God should be behind that. And if there's something that's a burden or out of alignment, we should pray, because if justice comes out, it means unless you look for it, unless you call to it with, like, for instance, the Two of Swords, it means that there was an imbalance. When the Justice card comes out, it means there was an injustice. Unless the Two of Swords comes with it, doesn't need to be right along. This is a 23, it's a 15 card, 23 position, excuse me, it's a 15 position, 23 card reading. So the Two of Swords did come with it. So this is about being in alignment. We don't have a bunch of twos. So when there's a bunch of twos in the Justice card, it would talk about being even with L, because the Justice is the 11th trump. I use it as 11 always, even if in the deck it's changed around, because of numerology. So when there's a bunch of twos and the Justice card, it means you're even with L. You're even with God. You're a priestess, you're chosen, you're special, whatever. We have 1, 2. So it's talking about being in alignment. And it's true, because you're going to have to deal with the devil. You're going to have to deal with evil witches. You're going to have to deal with jealous bitches. That's what I'm hearing, the word that they're saying, jealous bitches. But I don't curse too much anymore. That's another thing. The time I've spent away, I've dropped a lot. So it's just, if you're chosen, you're gonna need to be comfortable with getting beat up on. Doesn't mean walked all over. But beat up on is a different story. There's a difference between turning the other cheek, and burying your head in the sand. So this is the message. So at first we are at peace. So what that gives us externally is that some person, place, or thing, or your ancestors or your guides, ascended masters, your helper, your spirit team. Also, this is heaven. Now I use heaven as, I need to see the sun card to be the physical location of heaven, but heavenly beings, divine enlightened beings, those starry, shiny beings, that's the Lovers card as well. And Vodoun is ho-ho, meaning really alike spirits that literally, the closer you bring them to each other, they might either collapse on each other or their twinsies. Also, the constellation upon which you can access heaven is the Gemini constellation, specifically Orion's belt, specifically the star. I'm not going to say it because there's evil beings that come from that star as well. Fallen angels. So then the next thing is that we're just really slow. We might be dumb. I'm kind of like this. I don't like this energy. And I don't use the knights or the queens as energy. I mean, as people. I use the knights and the queens as people, and the kings and the pages as experiences or energy. So this is just a very slow moving person. I'm saying it'll take a long time to come to certain types of awareness. But if you may never learn all 100 rules from your parents, but by the time you leave the house, you might learn the first 18 rules. Okay. So this could also be the energy of taking extra time to get a lesson. And it would be here with this 4 of Swords, it would be talking about slow, methodical, now very skillful, very, very skillful. Okay. It also is just needing patience as well. Because when the enemy hurts you, it's easier, but it's more of the dark team to immediately get vengeance, to retaliate right away. It's harder to go to prayer and be like, God, creator, Mawusek Polisa, hey Vodoun, hey Tombe Ade, Tombe Legba, hey Mama Chamba, what's going on? You know, here's what my heart is saying, here's what my mind is saying, this is what I know to do, the rest I'm confused. Please guide me, please lead me, please help me. And sometimes your spirits will be waiting for the right moment, waiting for the right time to beat that, bitchiku back. Like my auntie says, I just want to clear all these, BITCHs off the shelf, right? Clean them off the shelf, she says. Love you, auntie. But sometimes it takes patience because first, respond with love. However, the devil's also waiting for you to do that. So when you're loving and you're always coming back with love, you are also giving the person a doorway back in, a gate back in. They still have keys to the house. So yes, justice does not always act swift, but karma, she's a cruel mistress. A wonderful lover, but a cruel mistress. See, that's the thing. I'm hearing so much, so let me calm down here. First of all, don't respond. Don't react. The reaction should be at the altar. Not popping up at the mouth. Okay. So when the enemy does something, don't confront them immediately. Don't run and chase them down. And of course, put down a boundary. You don't even need to talk about the behavior. You can just say, when I experience this, it doesn't work for me. Or when I see something like this, I always try to take space from it. That's all you need to say. Because if the person plus your thing is really in alignment, they're going to pick up on it very easily. You don't have to do much to be heard by the right people. You have to do a whole lot to be ignored by the wrong people. Meaning you'll be noticed by the wrong people, but they'll notice what you have, how you're being blessed, how you're being upgraded. They're not going to notice the hard work you put into it. They're not going to notice all of the pain that you've had to grow through, what you had to go through to grow through. They're only going to see, they're very surface level, superficial. Again, another with this. But they'll make the wrong decisions. Okay, that's another thing about the Two of Swords. There's a difference between making a choice and making a decision, because a choice is to add something in, a decision is to cut something out or to cut away. And when you choose something, typically the other thing is still an option. When you decide something, sometimes the other thing goes away. So the decision has the word cut in it, decide. D is always to separate into two. choice is to include or to be inclusionary. So I'm just sensing here the way that this goes down is internally we choose to heal. Again, it's supported again and again, and it's supported the first 3 rounds. We choose to heal. We're slow about it. We might not be slow about the healing, the intellect, reasoning, communication, the discernment, the knowledge, the judgment, that may come very quickly in and of our own hearts, in and of our own minds. However, it may be slow moving forward. It may be slow to manifest. It may take some time. Sometimes you can't burn the building down because there's still loved ones in there, but you know the foundation of that building is faulty, and you know eventually it's going to need to be torn down and rebuilt. So you might leave the building, take a breather, go back in and save somebody, but you can't save everybody. That's another thing. What do they say when the airplane's going down? Please secure your safety device, your safety apparatus, your breathing mask or whatever, before you do anybody else. Why? Because if you're incapacitated, you can't help nobody else. Why? Because if your cup is empty, you can't be filling up anybody else's. So on the other side, externally, it's just going to be revelry. The good times are going to be the good times, and then when they shift, it's going to create blockages. And so that's another thing that the creator does, that the God does, is they create small blockages, like the goddess Ganesha, and there's 8 forms of Ganesha, one of them is female, but Ganesha, Lord Ganesha, they remove obstacles, but also they place obstacles. And so that's the thing, if we're not always going back to God, if we're too wanting to be in control, wanting to know everything, needing to know the why of the why of the why of the why, we're going to look at the blockages and obstacles that Lord Ganesha places, the son of Shiva, Ganesha. And Shiva is just the inner self of God. Vishnu is the outer self of God. And if you just use the word God, great. As long as you know God is unfathomable. So we use different names to understand different facets. To think that you can understand the creator, never conversation. So sometimes obstacles get placed in the way. An argument with a person, the loss of an opportunity, the loss of money. That happens to me a lot. I'll get temporarily suspended from my money, and I have emergency money, but I'm a Cancer, very, 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 very Cancerian, very, 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 very Sagittarian. So to me, money comes and money goes. It flows, and I leave it and forget about it. That happens a lot to me personally. Something funny is going on, so the money will dry up for a day, for a week, for a month. And I'm usually unfazed until there's like a really strong need, and I'll decide to go back to work or something. And then I'll find money somewhere where I was overlooking. And it's not like 5, 20, 100 bucks in a drawer like I usually got. It's usually like a couple $100 in an account somewhere. It could be anything: stash, Cash App, cryptocurrency. It's going to be the same for you. There'll be a blockage. And the initial was like, why is this happening to me? But in actuality, it wasn't a blockage. It was a blessing in disguise. So that's Lord Ganesha. Also, look up his 2 consorts. There's something interesting about them. Look up Hindu Ganesha, Ganesha, Ganesha. Type into Google Hindu Ganesha Wiki, Wiki, and look what comes up. Specifically, Wikipedia article will talk about his consort energy, and then do some research into the consort energy. Because the God is always the attribute, the virtue. The goddess is the form through which the experience takes place. So I'm curious, I can't remember because it's not relevant to me. I'm curious who the partner, the Shakti energy of Ganesha is, because that will tell you what's heartfelt when you experience Ganesha. And Ganesha is unpleasant in the beginning. Normally, when you first meet Ganesha, for the average person, things are unpleasant, or they create things that are unpleasant. Now, some of us meet Ganesha when we're already living in hell and somebody needs to open the door and let us out. Because they're also not just the bestower of obstacles, but they remove obstacles. So just so you know, this is another card I use for what I call very specific Tohosu spirits. So Ganesha is in Vodoun, he comes as a specific Tohosu spirit. In Orisha, Tohosu is called Oshimare. So what I'm sensing and reading is true and correct. That's all you need to know about these cards. The reason that the devil is lurking is because a lot of us are chosen, and we need, if not knowledge, skill, if not skill, intellect, if not intellect, reasoning, if not reasoning, communication, if not communication, at least judgment and discernment of what to fight and what to let go. And in reality, a lot's going to be let go because this what's being taken away from us or blocked, it needs to be. Because if we are able to matriculate, assail whatever obstacle, the road will lead into hell. And hell is going to come on the back of people who are loving, but they want something from us. I'm hearing that song Valerie by Amy Winehouse. Did you have to go to jail? Put your house up off the sale. Did you find a new lawyer? Did you have to pay that fine that you was dodging all the time? Okay, so yeah, child. So on our side, we have martyr. External, it can just be our external experience, our internal experience, because there's not a clear person that's come, but there is a kind of person that comes, a type of energy that comes. And and I got the evil witch bitch energy, excuse the language. Okay. Now, normally it's not always bad, and that could just mean a famous person, a charismatic person, but also the devil is there, so that's not good. And we do have a 5 and the tower and the justice card. It means something bad put down. So we have this destroyer, and that's on the other person. So I was hearing people, fair weather friends, people that are around for the good times, but during the bad times they leave. Clarifying this, we have dilettante, Don Juan, and priest, and it's on the grounds of shapeshifter. And then a little bit down the line, we have the pilgrimage. I made this card, pilgrimage. So that's this whole thing, what I've been talking about. We are a pure soul, but oftentimes we're just innocent and pure. We don't know just what is valuable about us, why everybody comes around and victimizes us, harms us. You know, you can be victimized, but being a victim is a choice. Let me be very clear. Yeah, you're not a victim, you're a survivor. You're only a victim if you continue to call yourself that. But at the moment when with that damage, that harm happened, you were victimized. Somebody can come and steal your car. You were victimized. Somebody can come and harm you physically. You were victimized. It doesn't mean you're a victim because you made it home. You recovered. You went to the hospital. You filed a police report, whatever. You survived. Did it kill you? Then you weren't a victim. Did you end up dead? Then you were a victim. So over here we have martyr. Instead of addiction to self-pity, we need to have learning to transcend nature, learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. You see the purples, those are really, really good. Now the blue and black, that could be nasty. And I can't tell if this is purple or blue. It's not black. So the destroyer archetype here, intoxication with destructive powers, destroying others' dreams or potential, versus releasing what is potentially destructive, preparing for new life. Since you come back home. I don't know all the lyrics. Yeah, stop making a fool out of me, Valerie, Valerie. So here's black, here's purple. Yeah, so the Don Juan, this is in, I know Don Juan has more masculine and Femme Fatale is more feminine, but really the difference between masculine and feminine is the masculine puts energy out into the world, feminine absorbs energy from the world. So the Femme Fatale gets all crazy with you because whatever their need to connect, whatever their tactic to connect with you was refused. Being denied is what sends a Femme Fatale into the shadow. Don Juan being immune is what sends the Don Juan into the shadow. And so we do have the Lovers card out here, but romance is not always to, you know, have sex. It could also be to have a close, comfortable place with each other, like sisters. That there's a romance there, and it doesn't need to be birth sisters, blood sisters. But for instance, when I say the word sister, I'm talking about a priestess sister, meaning we take refuge in the goddess and we share and keep that secret away from the public, away from the mainstream society. Meaning, yeah, okay, this girl understands exactly why I don't eat pork. Yes, okay, this girl understands exactly why I'm not a big drinker. Okay, yeah, this person understands exactly why there's certain people I don't congregate around. When the average person would see that and they would look at me with a negative judgment, but this sister over here, we keep and share each other's secret. So that's romance, because creating sanctuary, refuge around sisterhood, brotherhood, priesthood, that's a type of romance. And that's the way I'm taking it. Now, yeah, seduction is not always romance. Sometimes seduction is a really good salesman. Whatever they're saying, whatever they're selling, you are buying it, you are eager to buy it. It's not always something to buy. It can also be selling some dick, be honest, you know. That trick doesn't work on me like it used to, but what I'm detecting is like, we need to know what we want. We need to know how to recognize the base materiality of what we want. Sometimes we'll want a car, for instance, and somebody will give us a 10-year-old car that needs to be fixed up. So if we're thinking, oh, I'm only going to have a white Mercedes Benz, I know that's not original. A lot of people like Yukon Denali's, not my thing. I'm just saying. So what happens when somebody gives you a black Range Rover that you got to fix up and paint? Well, some people are never going to realize that, hey, girl, in a month or two, you could have a white Range Rover. Fix that thing up, paint it, get your, weren't you praying? Wasn't God trying to help you? So that's another thing. It's like, we can't be so pretentious, so ignorant, so bougie that we think we're perfect, that we think we're infallible. Okay. We also can't be so ignorant and naive that the devil is walking all over us and we're not even noticing. Now, that's on the grounds of shape shifting. So a lot of these people over here, they're going to project anything that serves their personal agenda. And it's going to be moment to moment. So there'll be this thing one moment, there'll be this thing the next moment, there'll be this truth on a Monday, this truth on a Thursday, and it's never congruent. Yeah, things change, things evolve, but there should be a congruency. This should feed this, should feed this, should feed this. It should all work in harmony. Yeah, the different notes individually may be horrific, horrible, but in unison, it should be harmony. Okay, so a little bit more that I'm picking up here in the channel. People will come our way because they want to help us. They want to be a facilitator of something. And really is we've attracted them to us. There's something about us that's very special. This happens a lot with the King of Cups. The King of Cups is not always, he's not the sexy king in the deck. Now, he could be sexy. Me, I'm very attracted to Piscean eyes, and the King of Cups could be Pisces. Like if you have a Pisces rising, I know. If you're a Scorpio or Pisces rising, I know, for sure. I know. So that's this here, because this is really talking about the energy here is somebody that's righteous, somebody that's pure, somebody whose soul is clean, meaning unencumbered. There's not karma or binding on the soul, meaning when they go to judgment, everything will work out well. That's what I mean by clean. Doesn't mean that when you go to judgment, you can't make it to the good side. It just means there may be a cost. Not with the king or queen or page or knight of cups. In their positive element, it's righteous. And we have priest here. So facilitate spiritual commitment, serving as a channel for spiritual energy. You know what I'm picking up is that people want to be the middleman to your raw talent. And it's not always talent. Maybe you're not doing anything. But it's an exploitative, usury thing. A lot of times you'll have something beautiful about you, and people around you will come in and then they'll start trying to get you to do it a certain way, or critiquing how you do your craft, or really what's happening is they're being seduced by something. They want to use you. And, you know, a lot of people take medical advice from their mechanics. It's not always a bad thing. You know, you may have an uncle who loves you very well, and he very much, and he's never going to lead you bad intentionally, but he may be fearful. For instance, I have a mother figure who's very fearful, and everything that I'm doing just terrifies her. The fact that I don't have some W-2 job terrifies her. The fact that I leave the house at night terrifies her. You know, you may have an uncle who tells you not to buy stocks because he lost $5,000 in the stock market back in the 1980s. Well, if I want your life, I'll do what you do. Meaning, I don't take medical advice from my mechanic. I'm going to go out and find a mentor, a coach, an advisor, not a dilettante. So not pretension and much deeper knowledge than they actually possess. Somebody who delights, who enjoys, without needing to be clinical or professional. Somebody who can engage without being superficial. Somebody who can bask in the beauty and enjoy it with you versus tis. Shush, 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 shush. Shame. I call that concern trolling, or compassion baiting, or tone policing. Somebody comes around me and they start shutting me down, shushing me, shaming me, always trying to solicit my excuse my language, always trying to solicit my fucks, trying to get me to care about what they have going on, trying to make me nervous or fearful or bring down my vibration. Whether it's intentional or not intentional, because there's a lot of systemic, pervasive behavior. Some of it's taught, nurtured. I shut that down. I put up a boundary. I repeat the boundary. The next boundary is to move away and let them come back healed or ask for healing. I used to give people time and all that. No. It's too costly right now because I need my peace. So this Don Juan energy, it's different than femme fatale because femme fatale they're like a harmful damsel. Don Juan is a harmful lover, meaning you get attracted to them for something in them that's beautiful. And it says here, spotlights your positive, seductive qualities. Well, this is in our position, though. Us. This middle position is us outside the house. This position is us inside the house. So with the Dilettante and the Don Juan, there's something beautiful about us, valuable about us, and we don't know, but everybody else, priests, they can see very clearly. And then they come in exploiting. And that's what I'm picking up. That's what brought me to the table. So let's do, since we talked about Don Juan, let's pull from the Tarot of the Erotica. Why don't you come on over? That's been going on and on and on in my mind. People are trying to lure us to the dark, and it's not always intentional. It's not always intentional. I had a mother figure growing up. She was so terrified of me being self-employed, and she kept trying to get me to become a plumber, trying to get me to work at the post office. And I remember sitting down with her one time and saying, I put all this money into getting this credential and getting this, this is the path that I'm on, and this is the plans I have for my life. And I'm excited because that's really something that I'm good at and something that I'm called to do. I've had to leave that, incorporate it into something else. It's not uncommon for spiritual people to start out in finance. It's or marketing or teaching, those three things, spiritual people. Like if you go to a spiritual gathering and you ask everybody what they did before they became a priest, they're going to say one of those three things. You're going to hear it more than anything else. So she meant really well, but imagine me working as a letter carrier. Nothing wrong with that. Check's got to come in the mail, right? But it wasn't my path. What would happen if I became a mechanic or a plumber? And here's somebody who's loving. Okay. So that's why I keep hearing that Amy Winehouse song, come on over, come on over. Valerie, Mallory, those are all things about being in the darkness. If you understand etymology and the mystery, Mal means black, means dark, which doesn't always mean evil, but it does mean feminine, which absorbs. And so I keep feeling people want to use us. They want to use you. And when they don't get what they want, they retaliate. And it's even worse when it's underhanded. So what am I picking up here? So on our side, we have judgment. I'll show it to you. And it might still be us because I'm not picking up a specific person. If there was a person, it could be, okay, I'm hearing something. So one of you out there has a Virgo moon Sagittarius, Virgo sun Sagittarius moon. But if this is with a person and it's not, I don't have enough. Maybe a Capricorn. Yeah, I definitely don't have enough. I definitely don't have enough here to talk about energies. It's talking about energy, not a person. But if there was a person, it would be somebody with their sun in Capricorn, and they would have a fire moon sign, typically Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. Now, it could be first, fifth, or ninth house, their moon as well. It doesn't need to be in a fire sign. It could also be that they have the bottom of their chart is fire. So the bottom of your chart is fire. It means your rising sign would be earth. Now, in addition, it also could talk about the IC. Any queen talks about the IC or the south node or the moon sign. So it would need to be in fire. And it's not talking about a person. We have three kings here. So this is about alignment, maturity. alliances, partnerships as well. So on the other side, we have King of Pentacles. This is an erotic deck, I apologize. It's called Tarot of Erotica. It's discontinued or out of print. So really what it is you have a crown and a portal into an outlet of heaven, and this is peacock. So but you see how it's, there's so much coming through, it's hard to English, I apologize. Okay, so there's souls in the background that are entombed. You can't see it very well because it's a lot of darkness in this card, but there's beings there that are living in the dark and they're of the dark. And here, the person who incarnated into human form, they're running around acting like they have wisdom and knowledge. Bluebirds always talk about wisdom and knowledge and divine messages. But also I'm seeing, I first looked at it and saw peacocks. So peacocks talk about reincarnation. The thing about a peacock is that they're able to come and go. Angels take on the form of a peacock because they have free access. They're not, some people, when they get assigned a body, they go downstairs afterwards, not upstairs. So actually being in a human form gives them more freedom. But they're coming to you in disguise. They're coming to you not clear on their intention. And then I see a big, huge crown over our head, but there's also a portal there. And it's something that we created. So this is the other person. The other person, if there is another person, is down here and we're up here. Now, this is the second King of Pentacles. So yeah, there may be a Capricorn sun sign or a person with their sun in the 10th house, to a lesser degree, Taurus or Virgo, or their sun in the 2nd or the 6th house. It doesn't necessarily need to be their sun sign. It could be their north node. It could be their midheaven. So if you have you would have a fire rising if you have a midheaven that is Earth. Now, it could be them, not you, but most likely it's Capricorn because we have the King of Pentacles clarified by the Devil card. So that's Capricorn sun, period. Normally I'd need to see more sun energy surrounding, and it's not. We don't have a lot of sun energy that came out. The sun stayed away, except the kings, the sun did not come. Yeah, the sun stayed out. There's no sun here except the kings. One sun energy, and it's in the Magician card. That's sun conjunct Mercury, or aspecting Mercury and strongly aspecting. So the sun came out during judgment and judgment was on our side. So that's great. So let's clarify this here. Yeah, the Four of Cups came out twice as well. I have confidence in what I said, because what they want from us is to get our energy moving so that they can manipulate it. And they're trying to get their tactics to work. And see, that's the thing, an authentic, genuine, and sincere person, the King of Cups, they're righteous. They don't need to put on airs or have fictitious. They don't need to be phony. They ain't got a lie to kick it, is what the kids would say when I was graduating, grammar and high school, finishing school. And it's weird. Alchemically, not numerologically, but alchemically, the grade of the king, queen, and the knight is 4, and we have 4, 4, 4, basically. And I've been seeing 4, 4, 4 a lot lately, which can talk about protection or can talk about Brahma or Javius. So for me, that's how my spirits talk to me. So there's so many confirmations here. Let me do something. Yeah, and this keeps coming out. Do nothing right now, do nothing. In fact, if you do anything, take half of your grace back. If somebody's acting a fool, popping up at the mouth, hey, we hang out twice a week. Why don't we just hang out once a week? Hey, you come to dinner every Friday. How about you just come to dinner one Friday a month? Example. Take half back. Or do nothing. And it does say this because we have judgment and discernment and willpower. But you see, the thing is, it's very subtle because we're loving, caring, genuine, and kind. We're not looking to scheme or to come up or to work over others. And see, what's going on is the other person is sitting there waiting to figure out what will work. And see that this energy is, I cannot speak English right now. It's so difficult. Let me clarify, because it's not, I know what's going on. It's a language thing. Oh, yeah. In a couple of weeks, we'll be moving into a new issue because there's going to be a lot of endings soon, a lot of transitions soon. And I understand completely now. I love this deck for that reason alone. La vida se bila. So we're getting even more blessings and even more blessings, and we're coming closer and closer and closer to God. This is an ace. See the hands coming through? Okay. Ace of Wands. Closer and closer and closer and closer to God. And look, all they can think about is money. All they can think about is manipulation. That with the King of Pentacles, because the King's command. Okay. So different from the Queen, which is like motivation, a king is a command. Okay. So, wow. So we are a con for them. I don't know how to say that. I mean, there's other words because it's not always intentional. Sometimes people come at us positively. They don't always have a negative intention, but their vibration compared to our vibration may not work. You can't be AB negative blood type and take from a person that isn't. Okay. Usually when you have AB negative blood type, that's the only blood you can take. And I said usually, I know there's exceptions. But say you're average and standard or basic, you might be able to take anything. That makes sense. So that's a poor example. Let me put it to you this way. If you have a chalice full of water from the swamp, any water that somebody wants to put in that cup is going to be acceptable because you already have really dirty water in that chalice. But say you have a clean crystal chalice and you got it from some pristine, untouched waterfall. And then somebody wants to come and fill your cup up with their swamp water. Okay, so we're the clean crystal chalice. And I don't want to say that the other person is swamp, but they're not as clean as ours. And you see, yeah, sometimes this person is going to be negative, but sometimes they're just growing away from us. Our vibration keeps getting better. Our vibration keeps ascending, and they're not. So we do have the Lovers card and the Devil card out. So let me tell you a little bit about that. The shadow of the Lovers is the Devil. And the reason why is because sometimes we get into a union and we treat it like a prison. I was saying in the beginning, don't worship your lover as if they're your God. You need to have a connection with God and then see that reflected back by your lover. You need to believe that God has incarnated in your lover, not any other way. So sometimes we get in a situation where there's love, but the love is a prison because both parties individually don't have their freedom. There's too much codependency, ignorance, tyranny, disproportionate power dynamics, non-beneficial nourishing needs exchange. So what to do about it? Some tools to use. Mm-hmm. 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 Grant me a moment. Okay, so Merkaba, what that's telling me is live in the light, be of the light. Also, from an external perspective, it can mean that you're easily ridden and mounted, and that it's very easy, because Merkaba is also a spiritual vehicle, but it means we're very high vibrational and that we're in tune, in alignment. So even if at the time we watch this, we aren't high vibrational, we're going to a high vibration all the same. So high vibrational isn't just about being at a high vibration, it's also about being at an ascending vibration. Because it doesn't matter what your problem is. The same problem on a Monday may be completely difficult and unsurmountable, but by a Friday, if your vibration keeps getting better, it might leave your life on its own because it can't stay around you. And then on the other side, we have witch, but notice how this card is full of light and this card is not. What is the light? It's not the sun, it's illuminated by the moon. And then clarifying, okay. Again, it's talking about clear your energy, clear your energy, clear your energy, clear your energy. These are things that are going to take time. So we may think that, oh, this person suddenly went crazy on us, or oh, suddenly things shifted, things changed. Actually, darling, it's been brewing under the surface for some time. There's a lot of different energies, elements, experiences that have went into this explosion, but you have always been in danger. You need to protect your energy. You need to protect your space. You need to clear the space. You need to do vibrational cleansing with the bell. It may seem like suddenly somebody is acting a fool, but really underneath the surface, it's been coming for a while. I'm hearing the song, come on over, come on in, pull up a seat, take a load off your feet, come on over, come on in, you can unwind, take a load off your mind. Be a winner, be a star, be happy, whoever you are. Gotta make your plans, gotta take your move. I don't know the lyrics, but if you don't, then who's gonna do? Come on over, come on in. So come on over, come on in. That could be talking about going into the house of the gods or the temple, because other people, they're gonna try to bring you close to them and convince you to be like them. Instead of saying, wow, I see you, I'm attracted to you, how can I be with you? I've said all I can say, but I don't feel like I clearly explained it because I'm getting a lot of intuition and I'm having issues with English. So let me say it to you this way. That song is called Come On Over, and it's by Shania Twain. Let's use the colonizer deck for a moment. It's the same thing. Ooh. Yeah, see, the Ace of Swords in reverse, that's a sign of a liar. Deception, period, point blank. So the Seven of Swords can be deception, but there's sneakiness there. And so remember I was saying that I shuffled the Tower into one deck, the Wheel of Fortune into another deck, and the Judgment card into another deck. First of all, that was the final message, but I'm going to open it up and expand some more. Period, point blank. Anything that I've said, first of all, when the Temperance or the of Swords come out, Ace of Swords come out, whatever I said, it's the truth. All right, honey, let me tell you this. People are in your life trying to take you down, and they may not always be intentionally trying to take you down, but they're trying to take you down. How can they not intentionally be trying to take you down? Maybe the devil's working through them. Oh yeah, fives are the devil. You have the 5 and the, so this means being railroaded. This means having passage through conflict. Over here, we have authority. Our authority is God. It's not Jesus. Jesus is the Sun card. The Hangman is God. So our authority is God, and we're free, unbound, unencumbered. But we're living under an illusion. We don't know everything that's going on. We don't know all that's, but we deal with whatever comes by. Instead of running from it, we deal with it. And so, okay, you've been an enemy, but you haven't been vicious to me. You haven't harmed me overtly. So yeah, this whole time I may not have known that you're not healthy for me, but when you act a fool, when you do something dangerous, that's when I'll know, and that's when I'll make the decision. I'll make whatever change I need to make. I'll break free. So people are looking at us thinking, wow, you're stupid. Wow, you're dumb. Why you gotta be XYZ? Why you gotta have ABC? Why does elemental P come so easily to you? Girl, homie, let me explain something to you. And it's sweetie, homie, darling child. A blessing is a contract with the creator. It comes through you, not from you. It's a covenant with creation. And what is it called? Covenant. Something sacred is solemn, serious. So whatever burdens we have will eventually be unburdened because we're always going towards God. There's nothing else ever. And they're not going to see that. You see, a victimizer only sees victims. A narcissist is always in competition. They're always seeking validation, and validation is being better than you. It may seem like they need you to fawn all over them, and that's what you call a vulnerable narcissist, a covert narcissist, but a narcissist always is in competition. And for them to win, they need to be better than you. The devil always sees people whose souls they can dirty up. Okay? So you don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you is. If you're a positive, loving, genuine, caring, sincere, authentic person, that's what the world's going to show you back. And you may have the devil standing next to you, and you'll look at them and see love and light and beauty. So that was that King of Swords in the beginning, clarifying this King of Cups, saying, okay, homie, you're going to need some skillfulness. You're going to need to have some security in the self. You're going to need to be able to stand alone, because the tower is going to fall several times. And if you're not in alignment, judgment card, justice card, I mean, in alignment, justice card, the scales, it's going to be tower. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Let's get an Isis oracle. Be happy with who you are. And see, we are, you and I, those watching this, we're really great. Spirit of Isis, beloved initiate, there are times to surrender and let go, but there are never times to give up. Persist with your bold faith and inspired action until the impossible happens. Isis, or Mami Wata, has the spirit of triumph but will never fail in her quest. No matter how bold or impossible it seems, let her inspire you. Believe. That's on our side. Spirit of Isis. And then on their side, it can be us as well, because I couldn't find an energy. Frankly, it's Libra, Capricorn that I'm getting. And then on our side, I'm getting a lot of Pisces and Scorpio. But since it's not too clear, we're going to leave it as general. So this could be us, but external, internal, or what's subconscious, conscious. So further away from the camera is conscious, closer to the camera is always feminine, which is self-conscious or subconscious. The serpent of fire, do not assess your current ability based on past standards, as they no longer apply to you. You are no longer, or you are stronger and more powerful now than you have been before. You need to learn afresh what you are capable of. And Isis helps you now. Mami Wata, Yimayang. This is called Serpent of Isis. Serpents talk about primordial knowledge, ancient wisdom. The Nagas are wisdom keepers. Naga is another word for snake. Okay, so I've told you to look up two things. Lord Ganesha on Wikipedia. Look it up on Wikipedia. Go wherever else you go, but also go to Wikipedia. And then Naga, go anywhere, but Naga is Naga. There's even a dance, the Nagina. I would look up that dance, the Nagina dance. Yeah, healing the divine masculine. So even if it's coming through a female, it's the colonizer controller archetype. Because we're blossoming, our life is blossoming. And whenever you get harmed by another person, it's always a good time to go into healing. I'm going to read the healing of the divine masculine and show it to you, even though it's a clarifier card for what's knocking at the door. So what's knocking at the door is somebody that wants to establish dominance over you, over us. This is happening to me. I have two people doing this to me right now. And it's always tearing you down, making sure that they tell you that your talents, your abilities, your natural gifts are nothing. Ignoring any blessings, any abundance that you have coming in, or getting upset at it. And then the moment you make a mistake, or the moment you do something foolish, or the moment you let them down, whether they told you or not, whether you knew to expect it or not, then they eviscerate you. That kind of energy. Let me read this because for some reason it's relevant. The divine masculine within provides protection, discernment, healing, and a sense of deep safety and holding, even though through the most uncomfortable circumstances of life, your inner masculine is going through healing right now, growing stronger in the ability to offer you inner protection and stability so that your inner feminine can blossom with creative expression. Yeah, I do feel like femininity is for creation and masculinity is for protection. They always say that the man provides stability, the feminine provides balance. I agree. Because our abundance is coming, but the first piece of abundance needs to be self-contentment. So that we can receive this money, we can receive this creative abilities, we can receive whatever else. Not all abundance is financial. Okay, we've spent a long time here, so I'm gonna go. I love you very much. Take good care of yourself until we meet again, until we read again. Namaste, Dhanava, and Ashe. If you need to reach me, check the information in the show notes. Take good care. Bye-bye.